The Neumann u87 has been desired by so many, but because of multiple different factors, so many people are not able to get one. So for a while now, you have many companies making clones offering to give you the same quality at a lower price. Is buying a clone like buying a fake designer? How do they compare to the real thing? Subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this, and hit that like button. Also hit that notification bell so you'll be notified about more videos like this. Alright gang, so I have both of these microphones plugged directly into my X6 just to give you guys a real case scenario exactly what you guys will get if you guys had these microphones plugged directly into your interface if you guys don't have any external hardware. For both of these microphones, I am using a Unison plugin, the UT1073, and the distressor compressor. I do have the hardware version, so I am going to plug both of these microphones into the hardware. I only have one, so maybe you can hear exactly how far apart the sound really gets when you plug in some hardware. Which one would you guys actually spend your money on, the U87 or the Twin87? And let me know, how do you personally feel about clones? Or instead of getting a clone, would you actually just get like a different Neumann microphone, like a Neumann TLM103 or a 102? Companies like Warm Audio, United, other companies out there claim to give you the exact same sound as the U87, but they are all using different parts. Of course, you can't use the exact same parts because you might get into copyright infringement and all that kind of crazy stuff. So companies have workarounds to try to get that exact same sound. Like the United 87 here, they basically built their own capsule, which is supposed to emulate this capsule, which is the K87 from Neumann. And they also made their own transformers as well that's supposed to emulate the transformers in the U87. So they're basically recreating some other components and stuff like that to get that U87 sound. I am going to show you which microphone I am using at the time, so just look at the bottom so you can see which microphone I'm using. One thing I did notice with the Twin87 here is that this microphone compared to the U87 is a lot quieter. And just to get the Twin87 here closer to the U87, I had to go higher by 10 dB on my preamp. The U87 here is at 30 decibels on the preamp, and the Twin87 is at 40. But even still then, the U87 is just a little bit more louder, even if you use more dB on your preamp. Another difference is when you order both of these microphones, you know, of course the U87 here comes with a box that you can carry and have when traveling, so if it drops it in any way, you're going to be fine. Versus the U87, it comes with this little pouch here that, you know, personally I'm just not a big fan of. If you were to happen to drop that thing in that case, you're not going to have a great day. Another difference between the two is that the Twin87 here is actually more heavier than the U87. The reason this thing might be more heavier is because it actually has a lot of components inside. And I'm actually going to show you what it looks like on the inside so you can see. You know, somebody said I had a fake U87 in the comments. This is not a fake U87. You can look and see this is the real thing. You know what I'm saying? But if you look at the Twin87 here, they have a lot of components on the inside because they're trying to give you the original U87 sound and the newer version as well. On the front of the microphone, we have this modern and vintage setting here just to flip back and forth between the two. The vintage sounds a little bit more dull, and the modern setting is supposed to give you a brighter sound that people are looking for today. Personally, I'm more of a fan of the new sound from Neumann, the U87 AI, and I just really love the way how this boosts up the mids and everything. And I'm going to get close and personal with both of these microphones just so you can hear, you know, the difference and all that. But like I said before, the U87 is a louder microphone overall. Just by boosting this microphone 10 dB on your preamp, you're going to get a close enough sound. But with YouTube's compression, you might not even notice a difference. Who knows? I don't know. Let me know if you notice a difference or not. Also, another thing you want to notice as well, the U87 is a higher impedance microphone, coming in around 200 versus the Twin87 is 27. So in this case scenario, these microphones are actually not really the same. If you have the U87 and you plug it into your interface or preamp, you're going to need to use the high impedance on this microphone. Versus with the Twin87, you got to use the low impedance because that gets you closer to a loud enough sound. Now, if I had the Twin87 here on a high impedance, this microphone would be a lot more quieter than the U87. So the fact that I even have to boost the Twin87 here by 10 dB and put it on low impedance to get at least close enough to the U87 to let you know more than you need to know. When it comes to the max levels of what these microphones can actually take, surprisingly, both of them have the exact same numbers as far as the max SPL. So if you're trying to figure out which one gets less distortion, they both get the same distortion. Both of these microphones have a negative 10 dB pad on there. Now the Twin87 here has a high pass filter that cuts around 80 Hertz, but the U87 doesn't really tell you exactly where they cut that off at. It does have a high pass filter, but it doesn't really tell you. If you look in the U87 manual, they basically just tell you, you know, if you got a lot of wind noises and stuff like that, it helps with that, or getting a lot of proximity issues with the artist moving back and forth. It also helps with that as well, but they don't really tell you, you know, what frequency is cutting off at. Fun fact, both of these microphones can actually fit in each other's shock mount. So if you have a, you know, Twin87 here and you just want a real Neumann shock mount for whatever reason, you could actually get one and it fits in that microphone shock mount. Real quick, I'm going to plug the Neumann into the hardware and I'm going to switch it out from here and there. All right, gang, so I have the U87 here plugged directly into the hardware, and both of these microphones have close enough to the same settings, but the U87 is at 30 dB of gain and the Twin87 is at 40 dB of gain. And the weird thing about this thing, you know, I have both of these as the same exact settings, except for, you know, this is on the hardware, the real u87, real distressor compressor, and this is so much more louder than the Twin87 here. So I'm not sure how this can be a U87 clone, and the levels are really not the same. Even when I was using the software version of the u87 and distressor compressor for the U87, it's still not the same. This U87 is just much more louder for some reason, but you know, they're claiming they have the same exact numbers and everything to get that U87 sound. But to me, I just feel like the U87 just still sounds better. The highs just sound a little bit more refined, and the mid range is just in your face, and it just sounds smooth, warm, and milky. But the Twin87 here, it just sounds like the highs are just a little bit more up. I just feel like the highs on the U87 are just a little bit more nicer and just more musical versus just the U87 just less harsh versus the Twin87 here. It feels a little bit more harsh and, you know, kind of just a little cheap in my opinion. But and also the Twin87 here, you know, the mids don't really jump out to me like the U87 does. You know what I'm saying? Let me know what you guys think. I'm getting up and personal with this thing. No pop filter or anything like that. And let me go ahead and plug the Twin87 into the hardware while we use the U87 for the software. All right, gang. So now we have the Twin87 here plugged directly into the hardware and the U87 plugged directly into the interface and getting that software emulations and all that. Let me know if you guys notice the difference or not. Does it sound good? Does it sound the same? I don't know. I'm not listening to it right now, but I can tell you the Twin87 here is looking to be a little bit louder now because now we're using the hardware, and I don't know, maybe just the software just doesn't really do it. But I can tell you right now, I really love the hardware, and it sounds so much better in my opinion than plugins. And also, if you guys are really looking into, you know, upgrading your sound, definitely get a preamp and a compressor. The preamp just going to bring everything up to a nice volume and, you know, give you that 3D quality hardware sound, and then the distressor is going to, you know, clip some of those peaks and make it nice and smooth and a lot more listenable and pleasing to the ear, and just controlling those peaks and making sure that it doesn't sound terrible. So let me know what you guys think so far. And like I said, I don't know if you guys have watched one of my videos, but you know, there was a time where I was recording an artist in my closet with the Neumann u87. We did the first verse and the hook, and then we went over to my friend's house and used a real Neumann u87, and he did that on the second verse. And with the same effects and everything like that, we literally could not tell a difference. I don't know, maybe because we were smoking, and you know what I'm saying? We were in California, man. Weed is legal out there. I don't know if we were smoking or what. We were just high. The u87 and the Neumann u87 sounded very much similar. Maybe just the only thing that I would say is different is just that the u87 just sounded a little bit more detailed on the top and the bottom. You can really hear all of those a little bit more clear, and it sounded a little bit more refined. But other than that, that's basically it. They sounded very similar, the Neumann u87 and the U87 versus the Twin87 here. I don't know. I don't think it sounds exactly the same. Let me know in the comments. Also, let me know what other videos you want to see me do. Let me know what gear you want me to review. Shout out to Z Sounds for sending me both of these microphones. If you're in the market for a new microphone, check out their website. They have a lot of great options. Link in the description. If you guys are looking for vocal templates, universal audio templates to help you get a great sound in a short amount of time, link in the description. Check out themusicgang.com. And make sure you guys follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, link in the description. You guys stay safe. Peace.